it be the masterstroke to settle the throw of the dice in the long walk which has taken on the imagery of the search for the needle in a haystack? Will greenhouse technology be the nectar that will attract the youth to take a permanent seat in agriculture? The topic centers follows my image, and that will launch you into the details of this particular technology. My name is Napoleon Atukito. You are watching Farmers Weekly. This is the greenhouse village at Bojiase in central region of Ghana. It is one of three. The others located at Dahwenya in Greater Accra region and Akomadan in Ashanti. Here at Bojiase, a lot is happening with respect to this scientific or high-tech system of growing vegetables. Greenhouse technology is a subset of planting for food and jobs being rolled out by government. The three locations chosen for this project reinforces a state agenda on peri-urban agriculture. Among immediate objectives of greenhouse technology are to ensure availability of vegetables in urban economies and to join the competition and export. Israel, from where the technical direction is coming, indicates this agricultural procedure is expensive but worth the while in dividends. It is a sheltered environment for plants by using solar radiation to trap heat. This system of heating and circulating air helps to create an artificial environment in a greenhouse that can sustain plants when the outdoor temperature is too cool or variable. Two layers of shade netting on the top of the dome reduce the temperature inside the plant enclosure by 5 to 8 degrees Celsius. The housing secures plants from pests, extreme heat, drought, and diseases as climate change increases environmental risk on open field farming. Greenhouse performs even as crops outside had failed. The formula for cultivating plants in greenhouse technology is hydroponics. It is a Greek term. Hydro means water, ponos means labor. Thus, the raw meaning is working water. In its application to agriculture, hydroponics is a method of growing plants without soils. In other words, crops are planted in inert growing media and supplied with nutrient-rich solutions, oxygen and water. The energy the roots would have expended to acquire food and water is then redirected into the plant's maturation. Corn can be grown in a hydroponic garden, but scientists will prefer it is avoided because corn is not space efficient. Instead, suggestions are in favor of crops more suited to compact systems. These include tomato, pepper, herbs, strawberry, cucumber, watermelon, lettuce, pear, beans, spinach, and other green veggies. This technology allows efficient use of productive resources, higher productivity, and quality produce. The system again allows farmers to establish the most suitable climatic conditions for each crop and stages of plant development. Hydroponics strikes out anything called off-season crops as congenial conditions are artificially created for all year-round cropping. country which employs this method of farming on a massive scale maintains bumper harvest and boosts income in pockets of farmers. The greater multiplier effect engulfs the industry's value chain, keeping factory production lines busy all the time, whilst market price stability is fairly guaranteed. Ghana is following the tracks of Israel, the small Middle East nation by land size, but extremely successful in technological innovation and transfer. In collaborating with Israel in agriculture, the government of Ghana has raised the bar on agricultural performance, setting ambitious targets and motivating farmers to accelerate production, not only to feed the national population, but for import substitution and export. The agricultural minister was taken on a guided tour of the Mofa Greenhouse village by the Israeli farm managers. Ghana Television, which has reinstated one of its flagship programs, Agrimag, now called Farmers Weekly, had the organization's Director General also invited to this event. Together with other high-level officials of the sector ministry, they inspected the greenhouses.
The actual fruit? No, yeah. The plant. Also from beginning of March, same time.
Same time, all
yes.
of it.
You can see we've harvested from every stage, so it also catches them, but also it indicates to us the infestation we have inside.
So we do counting, self-counting, all the time.
A wide variety of vegetables and fruits are cultivated here, with the Israelis experimenting with success the Mediterranean melons. The farm hands on the model projects at Bojiase, Dawenya and Akumadai are recruited by the Ghana government to be specially trained in greenhouse technology. It is a rigorous training schedule of a batch of 30 within a period of 3 months, after which certificates are awarded. The 3-month training conducted at any of Ghana's greenhouse villages represent 2-year courses in regular universities and agric-based institutions of higher learning. The new page opened on Ghana's agriculture is padded with new measures and incentives most likely to attract willing participants and less of last option undertakers. The youth who have benefited from this training are fully immersed in agriculture now. Less expectations on so-called white-collar jobs.
As I've completed senior high school, I even did business. But when I was to go to tertiary, I realized that my uncle does farming, and I realized that it really helps. So I decided to go into the cultivation of crops, and I really enjoyed doing so. That's why I decided to go into agric with the cultivation.
But then, looking at this greenhouse technology, how do you find it, and how has been the experience?
Yeah, the experience has been very good. But it needs someone who is hardworking. If you are not hardworking and then determined, you can't. But in all, it is good to do the greenhouse, because with that one, you produce all year round. You're able to meet market demand, and you also make your profit as well.
Experience has been very amazing. I've come to realize that there are some structures in the agricultural industry that can allow us to produce all year round. And this is fulfilling, and this is encouraging. The greenhouse systems allows us to fertigate, irrigate, and produce all year round. We have been taught how to grow crops in soilless media. This will allow us to reduce some soil-borne diseases that comes up with our open fields. So the experience has been amazing and encouraging, and some of us are looking forward to practicalizing what we have learned and moving on and seeing how we can brighten our own corners for the development of the country.
Undertaking this 3 months of greenhouse training has been very good to us. And I think it's a nice initiative because we've been able to go through the modern and innovative ways of engaging in agriculture. Basically, we also had experience on how to go into agribusiness to take it to the next level. And we'd have experience with modern ways of doing things the right way that will help the country increase its production regarding agricultural commodities.
How did you receive the message from the minister that government is going to support the trainees to stand on their own and to be in self-employment?
Okay, I think that's a nice and motivative idea that they've initiated for us. Basically, one difficulty in agriculture is having your implement or capital or someone to invest with resources for you to be able to start it. So as young as we are, we welcome that idea, and we are going to make sure that he follows through with his promise so that we will be able to go into farming with the resources he will be able to assist us with.
I found this project very, very, very good for the youth, because after BSc or a diploma in agriculture, you don't have the practical knowledge as we had here. When we came here, we realized that plants are just like we humans, just that they don't talk. So as a farmer, you have to take good care of your plants, know what the plant needs. For instance, in here, AgriTop, they feed their plant 4 times a day. In the morning, they feed them with water, with a nutrient solution mix, afternoon then evening. So if you're a farmer and you want to get best of your produce, you have to strategize your farming in such a way that at the end of the day you are going to get much out of it. But Ghanaian farmers, it's just like they just farm and they don't really take care of their plants. They don't know the benefits or what they can get from the plants. So they just plant and depend on rainfall. But if you want to get best, as I said, you have to do irrigation or fertigation to get best out of your plants.
The cadre of this personnel are reckoned to be a new strand of agricultural extension with rich experience to be tapped by the directorate responsible for such services under the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, Mofa.
It's an approach that the ministry is encouraging farmers, particularly farmers in urban and peri-urban areas, where we are seriously challenged with competition for land from estate developers. You need just a small area and you can cultivate so much area. And I think this is an innovation that we are interested in, the products of this training, the 3-month training from this world. We think they can serve as a cadre of personnel that as they practice after graduation from here, our extension officers can draw on the experiences they have from the training, as well as they can even serve as resource persons to provide training for some of our farmers who express the desire to also participate in such a technology. Apart from the farming using the open air system, this technology provides a huge opportunity to ensure quality. Apart from quality, the yield, the yield from cultivator is optimal. That's the maximum yield you can get from this, because you have the problem of pest totally controlled. The issue of how much nutrient water supply is required is controlled, as well as the fertilizer, the fertigation. You supply the right quantity and you are guaranteed there will be no loss of nutrients through erosion or through leaching, where the nutrients are washed beyond the root zones of vegetation when you do the open air cultivation.
Can you explain it? Yes, of course. Okay, so it grows here in the water. This water in the bath is circulated by going into this drainage, into the water tank, and through the valve at the end, so the water is continuously moving. In addition, if you see the bubbles coming from inside, there are pipes, irrigation lines, pumping basically fresh air, oxygen, from this pump 24 hours a day. Okay. The water is tested twice a day for EC, pH, and temperature. And agronomical decisions of introducing more fertilizer or more fresh water are based on these records. How long does it take to get there? Now, as you can see, our young lady there, she is now transplanting from the nursery. In about 21 days, it will be like this. This is ready for harvest now.
The Minister of Food and Agriculture and his entourage graced the second graduation ceremony at the Mofa Greenhouse village, held simultaneously with a group at Akumadan in Ashanti region. He addressed the Akumadan group from Bojiase via video conference. The views of student spokesman appears to encapsulate their collective thoughts.
Today I know better, and I can confidently say my next tomato fruits may soon find their way on your plate. Mr. Chairman, it has not been a rosy walk. I had challenges, and I know most of my colleagues here also experienced one of such moments in their own way. There were days I felt I couldn't continue anymore. There were days of tiredness and restlessness. But in all, we persisted and overcame those challenges. With permission from Julius Caesar, I can restate this. We came, we saw, and we conquered.
Certificates were later given. The officials also inspected lecture halls and residential accommodation for the greenhouse technology trainees. Whilst on the inspection tour of the vegetable farmhouses, GTV Farmers Weekly doorstepped the minister to ascertain the further workings of the greenhouse technology. He said government will support trainees to set up their businesses with items ranging from cash to facilities, depending what their needs are.
You also said that you want to set up the trainees into business to become self-employed. In what form would assistance come to them?
Well, assistance will come in the form, first of all, they have to bind themselves into groups. Like these returnees who came from Israel last October, they approached us with 5 solid projects which we found very, very interesting. So we are supporting them. And it's not only in vegetables, some are in grain production, some are even in cocoa irrigation. And others have sent themselves to consultants, consulting with private companies and so on. So it's a wide variety, but we are saying that any venture that they go in, they need our help, we will give them. If they need to start with a greenhouse, with planting material and so on, the ministry will stand by them and make sure we provide these facilities for them. The idea is not for them to be employed by others, but to be entrepreneurs in themselves.
He said the concept will be sustained in Ghana on the backs of public-private partnerships and to be fully a part of university programs. From the look of things, it does appear this project will find expression in all 16 regions in Ghana as foreign investors line up to take over the project.
We have a large private sector company. For instance, at Bojo's site, this is a public-private sector venture. The land we stand on belongs to a company, a private company, and we are in joint partnership with them so that it's sustainable. I mean, they have been, Prudence Farms have been in export of vegetables many, many years, mangoes, pineapples, and all that. So he's very knowledgeable. So we are adding to that facility by setting up this training program. Already the University of Ghana has agreed to take up these 3 sites to provide to continue studies in students of agriculture at the diploma, at the degree, and the postgraduate levels. We are going to just about to sign an agreement with the University of Ghana so they take over the training companies. And that is one way of sustaining what we are doing here. And secondly, we are talking to 2-3 foreign investors who are very interested to take over some of these 3 sites, invest in them, expand. We have only 5 hectares that we have developed. But this is sitting on 150 hectare land. We want the whole 150 to be taken up by structures like this.
The Chief Executive Officer of Ghana Irrigation Authority, Engineer Wilson Dakwa, said greenhouses are high-tech, but with government ready to offer assistance to those who want to take up the venture, it is the juiciest bait yet for the youth to fancy an entry.
The youth, they always want to be given employment. How are you helping, or how do you find a possibility in changing their mindsets to also be creators themselves?
Yeah, this is a modern production system, and it is also high-tech, and therefore is attractive to the youth. The youth are attracted to this one because they don't soil their hands They don't soil their feet much, unlike open field cultivation where they have to be digging soil here and there. This is modern system in a house, more or less. The environment or the tunnel is like a house. So you can dress and then come to the farm and be working. So it is a system that is very attractive to the youth. And therefore it catches on well with the youth. And so it's a way that the youth can use to do their own work, open their own enterprises. The 30 students that are trained every 3 months, some of them who do very well get the opportunity to go to Israel. They do internship and get practical experience. So when they come, they have made some savings, and government is willing to support them to be able to set up their own greenhouses and enter into production themselves without being employed.
As trainees package vegetables from the greenhouses, old and new ideas come up for consideration. For some time now, Ghana, with one of the fancied tropical conditions, have been importing fresh tomatoes and onions from countries in the arid Sahelian region such as Burkina Faso and Niger. Producers in the two countries and elsewhere command a chunk of Ghana's vegetable market, sinking the fortunes of local farmers in the process. It was opposite the scenario 3 or more decades ago, when sources of supply were from the coast and not the landlocked region. What went wrong? Recently, the government of Ghana flew Ghanaian vegetable croppers to Kenya to learn the experiences of the East African giant. Kenya, which is farther away from the export market in Europe, has been reaping huge profits from vegetable and horticultural exports to major export destinations. 70 students selected from trainees at any of the 3 greenhouse locations in Ghana are sponsored to Israel to obtain 8-month practical experience in the technology. Whilst in Israel, the students are fully paid by government of Ghana. Their savings and dovetailers are expected to strengthen their hands in self-employment upon return to Ghana. Pressing on the accelerator, Ghana is beginning to turn the tide in trade, as the country exported about 18 varieties of crops to neighboring countries and beyond in 2018-2019 calendar years. The Israelis call Israel a holy land and refers to Ghana as blessed land, seeing the potential greenhouse technology holds in enforcing and transforming Ghana's agri sector.
We have the potential. All the factors are in place. All the factors in place. Only, I think, one part is more education, more support in infrastructure from government. Government do a lot, okay, but I don't think that subsidy is good thing. Subsidy is good thing if you encourage to get more yield. So give me subsidy if I achieve what government target. If it's 2 ton per hectare per maize or 5 ton, then I will get much more subsidy. But if I still make 1 ton, why I need to get subsidy and lose money? So the system need to encourage farmer to be better. And this is with better extension officer and support government in infrastructure, irrigation, feeder road, education, training.
But
yes, the potential is here. We have, like I say, maybe Israel is the Holy Land, but Ghana is blessed land. Okay, with blessed land you can do a lot of agriculture.
Recently, when the Minister of Food and Agriculture inaugurated the new head office building for the Ghana Irrigation Development Authority in Accra, he did mention in an interview that the new agricultural movement will be marked by a heavy participation of the youth and peri-urban farming as government moves to fill the ban for both internal consumption and for export. The minister also handed to some vegetable farmers refrigeration vans for cold storage. It highlights an interest and response to a need in vegetable cultivation, which is prevention of perishable produce from going waste. In so doing, construction of agro-processing factories are being encouraged for the uptake and value addition to vegetables and other perishables. Mention must also be made of the Netherlands, Spain, Greece and Italy, which have large tracts of land under greenhouse technology. This concept of smart greenhouses is practiced by most European farmers, out of which clean, quality and competitive produce emerge for high-end users. We also have greenhouses for orchards, flowers, seedlings and nurseries. What an exciting coincidence, sending back memories. In 1997, I covered the first flower export from Ghana to Europe, from the floricultural fields at Midye on the outskirts of Accra. It was purely a private sector initiative that applied the same technology. This new technology called greenhouse technology is not new to Ghanaian scientists per my experience with the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, Ghana. What might probably make the difference on this occasion will be the scale to which it's applied under the auspices of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture. Here ends Farmers Weekly. My name has been Napoleon Atukitu. Keep your dial here all the time. Goodbye.